we understand about a new important chapter called as exception handling. What is that one? Exception handling. What is this exception handling? Okay, simple. To understand this exception handling, we must be in position to understand about some few terminologies. We must be in position to understand what? Some few terminologies. What are those? What is exception? Okay. Then what is exception class? Then what is error? Then what is error class? If you are good in these concepts, then understanding about this exception handling is not difficult. Okay. So first, what is exception? Okay, observe. It is a trouble or unsolvable problem. It is what? A trouble or unsolvable problem at execution. For whom? For executor. Okay, during execution, the trouble is known as what? At the execution, it is unsolvable or an unsolvable trouble. Okay, it is a trouble or unsolvable problem. Okay, problem at execution. It is a trouble or unsolvable problem at which time? At execution. At execution time. Okay. Now, what is exception class? What is exception class? What is exception class? What is exception class? Okay. Observe. What is this exception class means? What is this exception class means? Normal Java class with special properties. With what? Special properties. I will tell what these properties are. By default, one property there for that. Okay, with some extra powers. Okay, those are the classes with some extra powers. Okay. Now coming to error. Coming to what? Error. Please make sure error means don't think it is what? Your compiled error. No, it is also a trouble or unsolvable problem at execution. It is also what? A trouble or unsolvable problem at what? Execution. Okay, it is what? A trouble or unsolvable problem at execution. Okay. Now coming to error class. Coming to what? Error class. Please make sure it is also a normal Java class with some extra powers or properties. With some special properties. That's all. Please make sure. What is exception? Exception means what? Unsolvable trouble or a problem to whom? At execution for executor. What is exception class, mister? Exception class is what? A normal class. Normal Java class with some special properties. What is error? What is? It is also trouble or unsolvable problem at execution. Now coming to error, normal Java class with what? Special property. With special what? With special property. With what? Special property. Okay? Observe here. What we discussed? What is exception? It is what? Unsolvable problem or trouble for executor at execution time. For executor at execution time. Unsolvable problem means an object. I will show you that one. What is this unsolvable problem means? Internally it is also object. We will see. Normal predefined Java class with what? With special properties. With special properties. Okay, with what? Special properties. Unsolvable problem for executor at execution. Error also. Now what is error means? Error class means predefined a class with some extra property. Okay. Now what is exception handling? What is this exception handling? Now with the demonstrating of one single code you can understand. I want to demonstrate one example for you, then only you will understand. Okay, observe. Let me go for execution of one code. Observe. Now system dot out dot print ln print ln enter no hello hi or else observe here just 8. What's the output? 8. Java C base dot Java. Okay, Java 8. Oh, what's that? Oh, this is byte class. Okay. Let me change the class name as what? A class. Let me compile once again. Execute once again. 8 is the output. What's the output? 8 is the output. What is the output? Now, 8 by 0. What is that in our mathematics? Infinity. Now, infinity, how I can tell here in programming language? I cannot tell. It is what? For executor infinity, mister, I cannot tell that infinity. So it is what? Compiled measure. Execution time error. Okay, execution time error is what? Exception. Observe here. Okay. Now, okay. Before that one, system dot out dot println end of main. Now what is the output? End of main. Observe. Any doubt in this? Any doubt? Now observe here. I am going to write here 8 by 0. Yes or no? Infinity, yes. Yes or no? Infinity, yes. Yes or no? Now observe here. Exception. Arithmetic exception division by 0. Oh, yes or no? Observe. What is that one? Exception division by 0. Exception division by 0. Arithmetic exception, what is this one? Division by 0. Now observe here, I am going to put this code. End of main. Now end of main will be printed. Observe here. No, it is not printing. Yes or no? Just exception in thread main java dot lang dot arithmetic exception division by 0. Yes or no? This java dot lang is what? One class. Yes. The class information you are printing. Yes. Internally, this is what? Unsolvable trouble. This is what called as exception. Now, are we getting end of main here? No. Observe once again. Are we getting? No, we are not getting. Yes or no? Now, observe here. I want to execute this one at any cost. So, to do that one, simply use try block. Within the try block, put this one. Yes or no? Now, we have seen the trouble name, right? What is the trouble name? Java dot lang dot arithmetic exception. Yes or no? Now, we have seen the trouble, right? You catch the trouble. What is that one? Arithmetic exception. Give this name. Understand? I have seen the trouble name. Java dot lang dot. Wherever colon is there, right? Before that colon, it is what? You can write fully name also. Fully qualified name. Java dot lang dot also. Now that is what? That exception name, trouble name. Yes or no? Now observe here, what will be the output? Observe here. Earlier you are not getting end of main. Now observe here, oh, end of main. Yes or no? So observe here, earlier, if there is no try and catch block, I am not getting what? End of main. Just giving exception name, yes or no? But if I have this try and catch blocks, okay, here I am giving what? The trouble name. You handle that trouble. You repair that trouble. Okay, observe here. End of me. Understand? So what is this exception handling? Observe. Exception handling. Here you are having trouble, yes or no? That trouble you have solved, yes or no? Yes or no? Without this catch and try block, what is happening? Our code is not at all executing, rest of the code is not executing. Now what is this exception handling means? If I put try and catch block, try and catch block. Now my code is executing arithmetic exception. Okay, arithmetic exception. Okay, now observe, my code is working really very fine. Yes or no? If there is no try and catch block, what happens? It will not execute properly. Observe, it will not execute properly. Yes or no? Try and catch commented. Okay, so what is exception handling means? Observe, exception handling, giving, okay, giving, providing another way or alternative way, another way to execute our code, giving what? Alternative way to execute our code, or giving another way to execute our code is called as exception handling. Observe here. What is this one? It is another way for executing rest of the code. Yes or no? Rest of the code we are executing. Yes or no? Yes, that is what this one. End of May. Now observe here. Output is what? Exception. To avoid that one, to define another way for executing rest of the code, the above code. Rewrite the above code as. Write the above code as what? Above code as what? Following this one. That's all. Okay. This is what exception handling. This is what our exception handling. Okay. So, Mr. How you wrote this catch block argument means first you execute the code. Now you can see what here that exception name. How to do that one means this colon is there. Before this colon, whatever the name is there, that is called as what? Exception name. You have to write that one here. And one variable. This is called as what? Argument, formal argument. Yes or no? Yes or no? Yes. Now observe here. Next part. Observe. Next thing. Try and catch block. Mister, what is this try block? And what is this catch block? Simple thing. Try block is a block where you have to maintain always. Try block is what? One block. One block. Where you have to maintain always risky code. That is dangerous code. Okay. You have to maintain what? Always dangerous code. Now observe here public static void means string array of. Okay. Observe. Now we completed arrays, right? This is what data type. Yes or no? Now this is what variable. Observe here, data type is the normal variable. It's called as what here? Variable declaration without any semicolon within collect is called as what? Formal argument. This is what formal argument. Yes. Okay. Now observe. Observe. This is what data type with variable without any semicolon. Now this variable can be with any name, right? Anil. Yes. Observe, Anil. Observe, you can write like this. Observe. Observe. Strictly valid, it will compile, it will execute. Observe, no compile error, nothing. I didn't uncomment them. Now I am going to uncomment, I am going to execute them. Observe. Understand? Okay. Now, what is this try block? If you observe here, this is the dangerous code which is troubling us. Yes or no? If I don't write this code within try block, what is happening? My code, rest of the code, not at all executing. Yes or no? For rest of the code, not at all executing. End up may not coming. So what is the try block means? Within this block, always write what? Dangerous code. This is what? Trouble causing code. Yes or no? This is what? Trouble causing code. Yes or no? Dangerous code. Maintain a dangerous code within the try block. Now within the catch block, you write whatever the logic you want to execute if there is any trouble. Yes or no? Now observe here, now there is trouble. Now I want to tell system.out.println. Hello, Mr. Trouble cause. Okay na? Now what is this one? Arithmetic exception. Yes or no? This argument to catch block must be always this trouble name. Internally every unsolvable trouble is what? Exception, right? Yes or no? Every unsolvable trouble is what? Exception. Observe. Every trouble is what? Every trouble is what? Exception. And each exception is what? Internally object. Internally what? Object. Okay. Now observe here. This is what your try block. And this is what your catch block. Now trouble is there. Yes or no? If really trouble is there, okay, definitely this catch block will get executed, right? Now observe here, what will be the output? Yes, really trouble is there. And it is handling. Control will go to catch block. Yes or no? The control goes to catch block. Now what happens? This statement definitely executes. Now what's the output? Hello? Mr. Trouble Cause. Hello Mr. Trouble Cause. Another one is what? End of main. Observe. Yes. Yes or no? These two things. Yes. Yes or no? So within the catch block, you have to write statements. If there is any trouble, logical statements, if you want to write, you can write any statement, you can write. Okay na? Observe here, that is what your try and catch block. So what is the exception handling? Giving another way to execute rest of the code. Okay. Now within the try block, you must write what? We must maintain dangerous code. Dangerous code. As an argument, as a catch block argument, we must write exception object name. Exception object name. Understand? We have seen that object name, exception object name there. That you have to write. You cannot tell directly. You are not great Deva to tell. Execute. Trouble is there. Now you write. Go on. Understand? Now, what is checked exception? What is this checked exception? I will tell the definition. What is this checked exception? Definition I will tell. And what is unchecked exception? Observe. What is this checked exception means? What is this checked exception means? What is this checked exception means? It is exception. Okay, it is exception. Checked by compiler. Checked by what? Compiler. Okay, it is exception checked by compiler. Whether handled or not. What is exception handling? Writing try and catch simply. So this is an exception which is checking by compiler whether that exception handled or not. Whether handled or not handled. Why this handling? Whether exception handled or not handled, it will check. Why? For smooth execution. To execute rest of the code. That is what checked exception. Observe. Exception which compiler checks is called as what? Checked exception. What is unchecked exception? Similar to that one. What is that unchecked exception? Exceptions which compiler not checks. Which are not checked by compiler. Mister, can you give any example? Yes, I will give. Later I will give. Okay, but the terminology you come to know. Okay, na? Now it will check exception which compiler checks whether handled or not. What is that one? Whether handled or not. Okay, what is this handling? Whether you write what? Whether you write try and catch blocks. Whether you write try and catch block. Now observe here hierarchy. This is very important hierarchy. Now observe here. I will draw that hierarchy diagram. Observe. Now try to understand that hierarchy. The parent class for entire exceptions is what? Throwable class. What is that one? Throwable class. The parent for all the exceptions is what? Throwable. Throwable class. It's what? Throwable class. Okay? Now observe here. Now observe here. For this throwable you are having two classes. I mean, if you want to remember, you can remember. Otherwise, your wish. Okay? Now observe here. For this one you are having child class called as exception. Huh? You can write anything, AR, JS, any name you can write. That's not trouble for us. Okay? Okay, now, exception. Now, other one is what? Error. Other one is what? Error. For this, for this throwable, you are having one more child. One more child. What is that one means? IO exception. You are having IO exception. Other one is what? Interrupted exception. Interrupted exception. Okay. And this error is what? One more class for our throwable. Okay. For our throwable. Okay. Now observe here. Now observe here. For this exception, right? For this exception, we are having one more child class called as runtime exception. Called as what? Runtime exception. And for this runtime exception class, we are having child classes. A number of child classes were there, but we are discussing few. Okay, what are those? Observe here. Number one, arithmetic exception. What is this one? Arithmetic exception. Arithmetic exception. Other one is null pointer exception. What is that one? Null pointer exception. Other one is index out of bounds exception. What is that one? Index out of bounds exception. And for this index, you are having child class as what means? Array index out of bounds exception. What is that one? Array index out of bounds exception. Other one is string index out of bounds exception. Other one is what? String index out of bounds exception. N number of classes were there. Still you are having, what is that one? Class cast exception, illegal argument exception, number format exception. Other one is what means? Illegal state exception, illegal monitor state exception, illegal thread state exception. But remember these things, few enough. Okay. And for this IO exception also you are having what? Child class. As what means? Interrupted IO exception, class not found exception, file not found exception, many were there. Okay. But remember only this. Enough. Okay. Remember. Concept is important here. Okay. This is what our hierarchy. This is what our hierarchy. Okay, done? Completed? Error is also a what? Class. Please make sure. For this error you are having still one more, two classes, child classes. VM error. And one more thing is what? Linkage error, verify error, child classes. Okay, linkage error, verify error. For VM error you are having stack overflow error, out of memory error as a child classes. For certification those are not important. Okay, now, but no need, even for certification also nobody will ask those things. Okay, even for certification also this is more than enough. This is more than enough. But write one more exception here as a child class. One more exception is there. Write that one, because even for our certification, just make sure I am giving in terms of certification, which is important for you. I am not giving dumb things. Okay. Now there is one more exception called as illegal thread state exception. Illegal thread state. Illegal state exception, illegal thread state exception, illegal monitor state exception. Okay, write this one. Okay, na? Illegal thread state exception. Okay, illegal thread state exception. Don't write this one. Wait, I have one small doubt in that name. Illegal thread state only. Okay, na? Illegal thread state exception. Okay, na? Write that one. Done, na? Illegal thread state exception. Okay, enough this hierarchy. Now within this hierarchy, if you do observe, which are called as checked exceptions, which are called as what? Unchecked exception. Which are called as what? Checked exception. By default they made. Hello compiler, please make sure you have to check these exceptions at compile time whether they handled or not. Observe. What are those exceptions? Okay, na? What are those? What are those exceptions? Okay, what are those exceptions? Please make sure. This throwable exception, IO exception, interrupted IO exception are all checked exceptions. Are all what? Checked exception. There also you have to make. Okay, na? Checked exception. Now this runtime exception and this error is called as unchecked exception. These two together called as what? Unchecked exception. Okay, unchecked exception. It's called as what? Unchecked exception. Okay, about this, just learn this terminology. Later I will show these things. Okay, na? Just learn the terminology. Later I will show entire thing to you. Later. Okay, entire thing to you later. But learn the meaning. Okay. Now observe here. Now methods to print exception messages. Now here we are having trouble, right? Yes or no? Observe here. Observe. Whenever there is a trouble, we are giving exception object to our cache block. Cache block executes. Now observe here. Now I want to print that message. Think that this statement will rise which exception object? Which exception object? 8 by 0. Arithmetic exception. Now I want to write that argument here as an argument. Yes, arithmetic exception. Yes or no? Arithmetic exception. Now observe here. Now, how to print the messages? Okay, now system.out println. Okay, system.out println. E dot get the message. What is that one? Get the message. Observe here. Here, if you do observe, in this case, this is what exception name. Yes, this is what exception message. Now I will get division by 0. That's all. Because of this one. Observe here. Because of this method, I will get what? Division by 0. Observe here. This method is having written data type as what? String. Yes. Now I am holding that one. Observe here. If method is returning a value, then you have to store that one in a variable. That variable data type must be as what? Data type must be similar to this method return data type. That is what string. That's why I am holding that one in string. Now is. Okay. Now observe here. Division by 0 na? Yes or no? Yes. Division by 0. Now observe. Now I will use one more method. What is that one? One more method. ToString method. What is that one? ToString method. Now what this one will do? Same thing, it also has return data type string. That's why I'm holding that in a variable. Now observe here, what is that E? Hello, arithmetic exception object. Within that object you are having ToString method. According to our terminology. Yes or no? E dot ToString. There we have used what? A number of things. That only will revolve. 4 to 5 examples you have to follow. Okay. Now E dot ToString. Okay. Now yes is what now? Observe what it will do means this is what exception name, exception name, exception description. Yes or no? Both things it will give. It will not give these things at a dot main, exception in thread main. With that and all it will not give. Okay na? Observe here. Yes. Yes or no? Now one more method is there. One more method. Here every time I am using system.out.println to print output. Yes or no? Now observe here one more method is there. Print stack trace method. Print what? Stack trace method. It will give entire message like this. What is that one? Observe. It will give entire message. Description. Exception name. Okay, description. At which line number it reads. Okay, at which line number it reads. Observe. At which line number it reads. Okay, observe. Okay, observe here. One more backslash. Okay. Yes sir. Yes sir, no. Exception name. At which line it has been read. Okay na. It is missing this part. Okay na. What is that part? Exception in thread main. It is not given. Okay na. Just exception, description, and at which line number it has been reached. Okay. Okay. Understand? These are the methods to print what? Exception. Messages to the output string. Which are those methods? Get message. Only after colon it will use. And ToString will give what? Exception name with the description. Print a stack trace it will give what? Even line number also it will use. It will give even line number also. This is what our printing messages to output string. That is exception messages printing statement. Okay? Observe. Print a stack trace. It will give exception message and stack. What is that stack means? At which line number it? Stack. Okay, let it be stack. Okay, stack. You know that stack. How it calls? It will give in backward direction. That's all. Okay. Now, at which line number it has been reached? Okay. Other one. String to string method. That is a ToString method. What it will give? Exception message and a description. Okay. Okay. Now, this one will give description. That's just the message. Just make sure exception description. This is what message. Rewrite there. This is in your material. This is what. Okay, exception description message. It's not just a message. Okay, message. Exception name and message. Okay, then message down is what? Stack, line number. It will give what? Line number. Okay, line number. Okay, now observe here. Example, same ditto, nothing changes. Print a stack trace, it will print that one. Now E dot ToString, E dot this one. Okay, S1. Okay, observe, end of main. Observe here, it will give all description, message, everything will be there. End of main also will be there. Observe. Observe. First one, because of print the stack trace. and this one is because of get toString method. This is because of get message. This is what end of. Okay. Now try with multiple catch box. We discussed